We are about to begin the next item on our agenda and program for today's conference. That is restitution in the plenary. What we expect to have from here is feedback from the various workshops. Please, you are going to remain seated in your various positions as you are. We need only the rapporteur from each of the workshops. And I said that we are going to give the feedback based on the way presentations were done yesterday. So we begin with the first presentation, which is the rapporteur for this group. Please, who is? Yes, just come forward, please. The first rapporteur to come up here is going to tell us about the feedback they have gotten after the discussions on societal organization and management of religious affairs. You are given guidelines on how to do this. The first rapporteur for this particular topic should come up, please. Please, podium is yours, please. You come up.
Alhamdulillah wal akibatu lil muttaqin.
Le micro, le microphone.
Alhamdulillah wal akibatu lil muttaqin wala udwana illa ala zalimin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Déjà, c'est un honneur pour moi qu'on me permet d'être rapporteur de la commission de l'organisation de la société musulmane et le management des affaires religieuses. Après long échange et beaucoup de médisances, nous avons trouvé certains problèmes qui sont très facultatifs pour la communauté musulmane. Le premier problème, c'est la division dans la communauté musulmane. Après échange, nous avons trouvé des solutions dont nous proposons que tous les imams vont tenir un même serment pour montrer l'importance de rester en groupe, parce que seul le groupe conduit à la réussite. La deuxième proposition, de mettre de côté la passion et de pardonner entre nous lorsqu'il y a des différends. La troisième proposition, avoir un leader régional et des représentants dans les villes. Le deuxième problème, c'est l'hypocrisie dans la communauté musulmane. Nous avons proposé aux imams aussi également que tous les vendredis ou bien une partie de vendredi, ils vont tenir des sermons pour montrer les dangers de l'hypocrisie. Tenir les prêches organisés et les séminaires, propager les dangers de l'hypocrisie à tout endroit, avoir une assise chaque mois pour rappeler ces dangers, entre parenthèses, de l'hypocrisie. Le troisième problème qui a été retenu, c'est le management des affaires de la communauté musulmane. Nous avons proposé de choisir les délégués dans chaque secteur de nos affaires et que ceux-ci soient des personnes compétentes. La deuxième chose que nous avions proposé, c'est organiser les séminaires pour former et renforcer les capacités de ces personnes. Respecter les leaders qui seront choisis. Et en dernier, mettre sur pied un système de communication régionale pour permettre à d'autres parties d'avoir les informations de tout ce qui est traité. Voilà bien ce qui a été traité par la commission dont j'ai cité plus haut. Était présent en cette commission Cheikh Nasir Oufon, Imam Suleiman Adamou de Douala, Imam Omar Sarakou, Cheikh Moussa Mohamed, Cheikh Saïd, Cheikh Saleh Mohamed, Imam Ali Garba Chéri, rapporteur Kishish, Cheikh Saleh, Toula Abdulbas, Daoud Zoubeir Bala, Mohamed Mouni Moussa. Voilà ceux qui ont participé à ces travaux. Je vous en remercie.
Mashallah. Mashallah, thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that brief presentation. That is, it was actually a good one. It shows that the group members really did their job very well. Now, the next feedback we need to have is from education and vocational training, which is going to be done by Dr. Mutuari Amisu. Please come up for the feedback. The next that should be preparing is health. Dr. Kamilu should be getting ready. After this one, immediately we are coming to you.
We agreed I'm going to present.
Wait. No, I think if we have to go by the presentations of yesterday, the next one should be Dr. Balud, or the sources of Islamic funding. I think if we have to go by yesterday's presentations, we should follow that order, please. That is how we are going to do, please. You have it?
Yes, sir.
Go on, please.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. This committee, the workshop on educational and vocational training, we have the following proposals. First, we look at the low enrollment that we have in our schools, all our Islamic schools. In the short term, we suggested that sensitization of parents in all Muslim gatherings, in the mosques, during naming ceremonies, marriages, and so on be done, not excluding the social media and other handles. At the level, at individual level, we should take it as a responsibility to do interpersonal communication, interpersonal sensitization. We recommend also that we remove our children from mission schools and bring them back to Islamic schools. We should also always remind imams every Fridays when they do khutbah to sensitize the Muslim parents on sending their children to Islamic schools. The award of scholarship to our Muslim children by individuals or organizations should be promoted. It is important to have a database of all the Muslims in our communities. Thus, a census should be carried out. There is this lack of trust from the Muslim communities as they do not send their children to Islamic schools. With that, we can increase their trust. B, the development of ideal curriculum for Islamic sector for the nursery, the primary, and the secondary and tertiary education. In the short term, the creation of a committee that can harmonize and develop a curriculum for the Islamic studies. 2, graduate institutions like MAD with ordinary level and advanced level should be enrolled into the Islamic teachers training place for pedagogic training. There should be regular organization of seminars for teachers for capacity building. Curriculum should cut across the primary, that's the curriculum we are going to form, should cut across the primary, secondary, and tertiary level. C, infrastructures. In the short term, we talked about rehabilitation of the existing infrastructures. In the medium and long term, we talked of acquiring the land for construction of schools. We talked of the construction of a regional Islamic education complex or secretariat. We talked of building of new schools, nursery, primary, secondary, technical, and vocational schools within the range of 5 years. D, recruitment of competent teachers. In the short term, we suggested that competent teachers should be recruited at the beginning of this academic year. Sensitization on volunteerism by imams to our dear Muslim brothers to volunteer and teach also in these Islamic schools. E, creation of new Islamic schools, the nursery, primary, secondary, and universities. We need to apply for the creation of new schools. We need to have the conventional and Islamic education. Both the conventional and Islamic education should be standardized. We need to award Islamic certificates from primary, secondary, and even advanced level. The Islamic conventional education should be blended with the conventional education. We have to prepare a modern syllabus and teaching schemes for these schools. We thought of acquisition of suitable pedagogic materials such as textbooks, teachers' handbooks, methodology books, related teaching aids, etc. before beginning the next academic year. Formation of strategy for manpower training, as well as reorientation of Muslim teachers, curriculum development staff, educational administrators, etc. Committee should be created for the development and harmonization of this curriculum. Formation of a strategy for tactful dissemination of new educational material to be produced. Then we went to lack of qualified Islamic trained teachers. The Arabic department of Islamic training schools should be strengthened. 2, some qualified graduates from Islamic institutions like MAD should be sent to Islamic teachers training to acquire pedagogic training. 3, school founders, proprietors, PTA chairman, and communities can also send some of their teachers for training in Islamic schools. The committee had a manpower of 16 persons. I can name them: Mutari Amisu, Lukom Ibrahim, Nyaso Mansour, Osman Mo, Sheikh Wisan Yusaid, Sunze Mama, Zakaria Musa, Titambuwe, Ndashi Yusufa, Yusufu Kudibira, Sheikh Yusufu Kudibira, Sheikh Abdul Karim, Hussein Daoud, Yusufa Babada, Ayman Musa, Abdul Razak, Muhammad Yusuf. These are the people who sat for this commission. Thank you for listening.
Bien, voilà. Merci. Merci au présentateur du groupe qui a planché sur l'éducation. Mais il y a une correction à apporter. Nous avons dit qu'on doit être réaliste et pragmatique. Je crois qu'il n'a pas suivi. Et ce qui a écrit là, comme c'est un anglophone, il a mal lu. On n'a pas dit que les musulmans doivent quitter les écoles confessionnelles non musulmanes. C'est impossible et c'est irréaliste. Parce que nous sommes nombreux. Nous sommes très nombreux et nous n'avons pas d'école. Nous sommes obligés d'aller dans les écoles des autres. Mais nous sommes des musulmans. Nous voulons donner à nos enfants l'éducation islamique. Et là où il n'y a pas l'éducation islamique, nous avons dit qu'on prenne les gens pour les ramener dans les écoles islamiques pour apprendre la religion. On n'a pas dit de quitter les écoles catholiques ou protestantes. Nous continuons à aller dans les écoles, mais nous sommes des musulmans. Nous devons apprendre notre religion et nous avons des centres pour former les musulmans. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Sarki Onkolbison, for that correction. It's actually a correction that we all need to take. That is that if all our children that are going to those other schools, if they should come out, we will not even have way to accommodate them. So the correction is taken. And please, please, this is not an answer and question session. It's not question and answer session, please. This is a plenary session. We know education is a field that when you touch education, you touch the heart of the community. We are going to call on the next presenter, the next rapporteur. That is Dr. Nashipu Balut, that is coming to tell us what they have discussed on this topic, sources of Islamic funding. Dr. Balut, you can come up, please.
Is it okay?
Please, I wish to plead with the audience that there is a lot of noise coming from the audience, and that if we are making noise, the truth is we are not going to get the important aspects of what these rapporteurs are going to tell us. They have been working for 3 hours. Please, let's give them some time to tell us what they came up with, so that at least we can be heading somewhere, inshallah.
Where's the other mic? Let me remove it now. Let me use the other one.
You should come down now. They are fixing it here. You can't stop.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We're working on the aspects of Islamic sources of finance, and we have arrived at the following resolutions. We have the short term, the medium term, the long term, and the resolutions proper. So I'm going to quickly rush through our resolution, the short-term sources of Islamic funding. The first is infaq, that is crowd fundraising. Then the second is publications of the conference proceedings. The third is conference on specific subjects. We have establishment of a legalized institutions under the supervisions of the ministry delegate in charge of Islamic affairs. Then we have, for the medium term sources of Islamic funding, we have Wakaf main funds, we have Zakat endowment funds. Then we also do a lot of workshops, conferences where we generate other sources of income, other empowerment activities, social empowerment activities, especially in the areas of agriculture and development of the land that we have. Social capitals, that's partnerships, is another source. Then the ultimate goal is our long-term goal, which is the Islamic Trust Fund that we need to come out with as Muslims. We have arrived, we have accepted that we as Muslims in the Northwest, we are going to come out with an Islamic Trust Fund with delegates from all the divisions and then the regional board as the regional board head office. The second part is the resolution by the councils. One is establishment of Islamic Treasury Trust Fund structure managed by the board that shall be created. Creation of Islamic Trust Fund Board. The Islamic Trust Fund Board shall be decentralized structure managed by a single board. The structure will consist of representatives from each divisions in the Northwest regions. The council also resolved that the board should be made up of 13 executive members, each coming from the various divisions. The members should be the chair, the board chair, the treasury, the general secretary, the accountant, the audit bench, the public relation officer, and the division delegates. 7 divisional delegates. The structure should be managed by trusted persons and experts in the various fields, especially in the areas of Islamic banking, collections of funds should be at all divisional level with representative answerable to the regional board, because Northwest is a case study, but it is going to be at the national level. Corrections. Northwest is just a case study, but it's going to be replicated in all the regions of Cameroon. Also, to ensure we arrived that there should be ensure proper regulation and coordinations, that we need to have a Sharia board to ensure that there's compliance with Islamic principles. There will also be issues, we've also agreed that there will be financial reporting and audit board that we have agreed upon. Members of the commission should be shouldered the responsibility in case of any failure. The commissions on these resolutions were 11 members: Dr. Nashibu Talud, Alaji Bakwe Yaya, Bruno, Sheikh Hussein Wikum, Zilian Ilyas, Hamisu Wiba, Yunus Saba Isa Rabbani, and Titan Sufe Kabiru, Isa Musa, Saidu Jibril, and Hamidu Sural Buba. These are the members. Thank you very much.
Thank Thank you very much, Dr. Tolo, for that wonderful presentation, that wonderful job you guys have done. The next rapporteur we expect here is Dr. Kamilu Ibrahim, who is coming to give us feedback on the discussions they have had as far as this represents health and social security. Please. He is coming up. He's coming up to tell us
okay, I'm good. Okay, this your flash is inside, huh? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulihi al-mustafa wa ala ibadihi allazina irtada wa man bihudahum ihtada wa bi athari ahli al-madinati iqtafa. Al-madinatu khairul lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. Resolutions of the workshop on health and social security. After our sitting, we came out with the following resolutions, and we divided them into three: short-term, medium-term, and long-term. For the short-term resolutions, number one is the initiation of an Islamic integrated health center by a community-based association that is centrally controlled. The second is that will be achieved by project writing for the initiation of the health center. That's the first project. Then the second project will be for the infrastructure of this health center. The third is lobbying by our leaders to facilitate this process, which should begin immediately. In that line, two individuals by the name Mr. Umaru Tanko and then Asabe Ibrahim, who are both nursing educators and proprietors of a school of nursing education, have offered to grant a full scholarship to 10 A-level holders to be presented by a Muslim community and trained for free. These people will be trained up to the level of bachelors of science in nursing, midwifery, and lab technicians, and laboratory lab sciences. The next is immediate sensitization on the dangers of drug abuse, primarily by those who are in the field of medicine, and secondarily by our influential members of the community, such as the imams and our preachers. The next is sensitization of our students who are in secondary schools and in high schools of the importance of studying biomedical sciences, so that eventually we can have our own medical doctors in good number, including very sensitive fields like gynecology and obstetrics, particularly for our female children. The next short term is to encourage private individuals to also invest in health as Muslims. For the medium term goals, the first is effective, after the first is a continuous thing, but effective functioning now of an Islamic integrated health center. That's the medium-term resolution. The next is the initiation of an Islamic institution for the training of personnel, just at the level of initiation, midterm. Then lobbying can be made by community elites regarding the creation of these institutions, enrolling into public institutions that are very, very difficult now, and into the public service because of the rarity of our brothers and sisters in the public sector of health education. Long term, looking at this as a continuum, is to build, because of the experience we are going to have within now 5 years, we can be able to produce a template that embodies Islamic medical ethics that suits our context based on this experience. And then, from then, we will create more Islamic institutions for training of healthcare professionals. Then, creation of other health centers in other divisions and subdivisions of the Northwest region, since this is our pioneer site, but it is intended to continue for the rest of the country. After we have had all of these facilities in the name of the community, then this will be the right time to create Islamic Health Service, which is going to be an umbrella body that dictates the policies that will be implemented vertically into our structures that we are managing. Last but not the least, by that time, the institution, the pioneer institution that was created or will be created, has already had the power to move to the level of a medical center one step before being a hospital. So these are our recommendations. As for the members of our team, we have myself, Kamil Ibrahim, a medical doctor and public health specialist. We have Mr. Umar Tanko, who is a nurse educator and a proprietor of health education. We have Dan Asabe Ibrahim, who is a nurse educator and a proprietor of health education. We have Nasruddin Muhammad, who is a medical lab scientist. We have Bizanyu Abdulaziz, who is finally a medical doctor. We have Ibrahim Pala, who is a medical lab scientist. We have Amadou Musa, who is a medical lab scientist from the University of Buea. And we have Jibrila Tur, who is a medicinal plant farmer. Then we have Tonji Ngwa Niba, who is a nutritionist from the University of Atlanta, from Atlanta International University. We have Isiaka, Shuaibu Isiaka, who is the Vice President of the Northwest Regional Fund for Health Promotion. And we have Josie Abdul Jamiu, who is a nurse from the National Polytechnic University Institute, and Habub Abubakar Wilanyu, who is a businessman. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mashallah, thank you very much, Dr. Kamilu. Thank you very much for that wonderful that you've come up with. They are very powerful, and I think if we go by implementation, we will be found somewhere tomorrow, inshallah. The next rapporteur we are expecting to see here is Al-Haji Salifu, who is coming to present to us the discussions that they have had on this topic, deviance and socioeconomic insertion. Let us get their discussions, please.
Maybe if you reach the station.
Alhaji Salifu, we are waiting
I
for
can remove
you.
it and put it down. No, okay. Now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, our committee worked incessantly and came up with the following resolutions, identified as short-term, medium, and long. The first problem we tackled was poor child upbringing. Solution: we said parents should be invited regularly to workshops on proper child upbringing by scholars and imams. Of course, the stakeholders too. The second resolution is that there's need to encourage parents to enroll their children in institutions that offer sound Islamic and secular education. Those first 2 points, we identify them as both short because it can be started immediately with some parents and can be continued. The third one under that particular problem of poor child upbringing, the solution we gave as a third was that parents should learn the basic knowledge of Islam that can enable them mentor their children properly. As long-term, it should be continuous. The next problem we handled was wrong use of social media content makes youths to be deviant, as well as some parents who do that. And the solution we proposed: one, short-term, regular counseling of both youths and parents on the responsible use of social media. In fact, they should be using the good part of the ICT policy that is there. The second one is that the stakeholders, we are talking here about the parents and community leaders, Islamic, should avoid exposing the young ones to social media at a tender age, short term. The third proposal here is that both government and community should improve on policies on the use of social media and actually put them into practice. The third problem we handled was lack of bilingual Islamic and secular schools. This makes some youths not to be able to easily acquire basic knowledge in Islam, which we all know will affect their morale. Solutions: there's need for the creation of bilingual / secular schools or secular schools blended together from nursery to the university level. It's our appeal. Maybe our communities or the government can come in here. We create as many as possible in our various areas. The other problem we handled was lack of proper Islamic regulatory council or board that incarnates the youths. We have had structures existing, but they are not doing enough in this area. So maybe there's need to create one, like I did indicate yesterday, that could assist our leaders, Islamic leaders in this area. Okay, the solution was need of creation of a regulatory board or council having youth representative Then the problem, another problem we handle was that youth's ideas, the ideas and problems of youths are hardly listened to by some Islamic leaders and even some of their parents. Solution: parents and Islamic leaders should listen to the problems of the youths and address them as much as possible. They should even call them up when they don't complain and try to ask so that their grievances can be handled. As long term, another problem we handled was drug abuse, which is common with our youths. Solution: that there's need for more sensitization and education of youths on the ills and consequences of drug consumption and trafficking, both short and long term. Since it's continuous, we can start immediately and continue. The second solution on drug abuse is that Islamic community members should denounce the sellers of drugs in the community. It's actually an appeal. If we work together, this thing can be stopped. Even facilitators, please. Then the third solution is that stakeholders in our communities should reinforce the application of the laws on drug trafficking. Another problem we handled was lack of managerial skills. The youths, they lack skills, and it pushes some of them to go astray, become deviant. The solutions are medium term first: regular orientation of youths in workshops on job creation by experts. Yes, here, if our organizers here and our Islamic leaders can maybe look for experts who will regularly organize such workshops and call on youths and then try to educate them on job availability and so on. It can take some of them to be busy. As is always said, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. The second point: stakeholders should create more vocational centers for training of youths. Yes, this one is also important. If we make them skilled, they can self-employ themselves or they feed themselves somewhere and will hardly be carried away by peer influence or vices that are around. Second, but not the last, of our problems that we handle is lack of basic secular education knowledge. Yes, some of them do these things simply because they do not know what Islam says. Maybe because they don't have the skill of reading books, even in English. So that basic knowledge in secular education can help some of them open books and read. That is short term. Even with some of our learned brothers and sisters in Islam, some of them find it difficult to even transfer the knowledge that they have because they don't have the basic knowledge in secular education. So solution, we advise that every youth should acquire basic knowledge in secular education. Short and long term. Problem, lack of gender balance in facilities in our schools. We propose as solutions need of implementation of gender balance in policies in all our education facilities. Should be such that every institution that we have, we make sure there are facilities, there are provisions for the female child to fit as well. Then the last, but not least, is that no respect of time for prayers and other da'wah activities by our imams, scholars in Islam, who maybe are out to do preachings and prayers. For instance, it is known that we have many masjid in town here, and the time for prayers on Friday is 1 o'clock. And the other prayers too, the time is agreed is there. And most often the imams come late, when maybe the youths or some youths have some activities to do, and they know that the time for prayers is at 1. They come wait, and maybe the imam comes at 1:30. It will discourage some of them from coming to the mosque or even coming for prayers to listen to the sermon to be able to change their morale. Okay, we also propose that imams should indicate their absence early enough for the proper preparation for their replacement. That should be the last proposal that we made. So in nutshell, this is what we put in place in our committee. Our committee for deviance and socioeconomic insertion was made up of myself, Abdul Basil, Osman Adamu, Muhammad Arun, Muhammadu Moleyu, Modasi, Pu Tikong Yaya, Suleiman Umaru, and Delegate Suleiman and Salih Hassan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salifo, for that presentation. I would like to make a small correction so that we should be fast in our presentations, in our giving the recommendations. Please, when we come, there is no need to mention the names of those who participated in the workshops. I think that the Secretariat, after this conference, we're going to produce a document carrying all this information. If somebody wants the person, yes, it's not a presentation, you are just reading to us your resolutions, the workshops. So on that note, we are calling on Brother Abdullah Musa, who is coming to present to us the feedback, or give us the feedback on the discussions, this topic, entrepreneurship, food security, and means of existence. Please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So these are the recommendations the Committee on Entrepreneurship, Food Security and Means of Existence gathered. We divided all the recommendations into the 3 terms, the short term, the medium term, and the long term. For the short term, the first recommendation was that it's good, we have to identify the vulnerable households, and we create a database for the vulnerable households. Secondly, there's need for the creation of a solidarity fund in our community for food subsistence support to the vulnerable households. Here, we are proposing that if each household can voluntarily donate the sum of 200 francs per week, and we gather that amount to form a solidarity fund, which can be used to subsidize now our vulnerable communities. Thirdly, on that short term, there's need for the creation of a committee to fight against the food insecurity, which means this committee has to identify, manage the resources, share the income gathered to government and partners for support for food security. Fourthly, on that short term, there's a need to create a committee of about 10 persons, because we find out that everything we are talking about needs finances. So there's a need to create a committee of about 10 persons to develop the idea, prepare documents, and to share the idea to the community to bring about the operation of a microfinance institution. There's nothing you can do without money. Then on that medium term, firstly, we have to advocate to get the access to agricultural community land of about 50 to 100 hectares, and all the land must not be in one area. So the total should come out to that 50 or 100 hectares. Then nextly, you have to install, here we are getting about the agricultural production. So we have to install small producers coming from the vulnerable households. Here they will need technical support, inputs here we talk of the seeds, fertilizer and so on. Inputs, you have to follow up, and they will look for partnership with the buyers of their products and with financial institutions. Nextly, they will need a guidance for the projects by local community experts to guide them on the techniques. Next, there is need to create an income-generating activity for women around farming community. And here, the women will need capacity building and technical support. After that, on that medium term, we need a partnership with support teams or NGOs to build at least 50 CIGs and cooperatives in different fields, different domains of agriculture. It can be husbandry, fishery, and so on. Then lastly, on that medium term, we have a need for youth self-employment and entrepreneurship community to be created in our community, a committee to be created in the community which will have the goal of sensitizing, creating a vocational institution to source for finances and to give capital to capitalize our local professionals. If we have local professionals who are versed in some aspects, we should capitalize them. Then on that long term, we see there should be the identification, the training, the technical support, and synergy of different actors for creating intensive agriculture. We know in intensive agriculture, you need three factors: the land, the capital, and the manpower. So we have to synergize these three. Next, we have to develop a partnership between the community, NGOs, or technical support firms in order to help our small producers by sharing the good practice and following up their activities. Then lastly, we need the creation of a vocational community-based training institution. That's all we gathered from that committee. Assalamu alaikum wa
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah Musa, for that wonderful resolutions that you have come up with that your workshop. We are expecting Madame Dubla to come and present to us on this topic, to tell us their resolutions on this topic, women empowerment. This topic was a combined topic, women and youth empowerment. It was a combined topic, women and youth empowerment, and the feedback, since they discussed in two groups, feedback will be given as the discussions were. So she's going to tell us their resolutions as far as the women empowerment is concerned. Thereafter, youth empowerment will come.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Excuse me, yesterday I spoke in French. Today we report in English, and I thought that one of the ladies will read and comment. Now that I'm here, you allow me just to read, because commenting in English will not be easy for me. Yeah. Thank you. So we take our proposals in 3 parts. You have the short term, and concerning the short term, you have sensitization. The first one is sensitization of children on education, both Islamic and secular, sensitization on drug abuse, on vocational training, and business oriented. Then we have to sensitize women on education to be productive and living in harmony. Then we have to sensitize men on education to encourage men to let their daughters, children, and wives to be educated and to be productive. Then we have to sensitize the community, especially Sarki and Al-Faki, to help women. And then we have to sensitize them on unity purpose. The second block is to write small projects, very small projects within 2 months. And then we have a thinking committee. We want a thinking committee. And then we have fundraising, because all what we have to do deal with money. We have fundraising. Those are for the short term. Thank you. For the medium term, we thought about opening training centers for tailoring workshops, catering, literacy, salon, and so on. And then we have the quality Islamic and secular schools. We think about quality, not only Islamic or secular schools, but the quality. We need the quality. And then we thought about start up little businesses, especially for people with special needs. We used to leave them aside, but we have to take care of them. They know they can do, and we have to help them. We have equally a start-up little businesses for the less privileged one. And then we listed a 10% start-up capital. And for example, we thought about growing chicken. Let me say it like that. Maybe we were about 25, and then if each lady brings 2 or 5 chicken times 25, we already have the base, that 10% of our contribution. And then with that baseline, we can seek for money, or I don't know how you call it. That's for the medium term. And the last one, the long term, is concerning clinics and hospital, especially for delivering. We need Islamic secondary and higher education. And then we need Islamic women guidance and counseling office. Those are what we listed for the short, medium, and long terms. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Bamenda. We are grateful. should be trying to tell us about the youth empowerment, please.
Okay. Our group work on youth empowerment, and we identified some resolutions that we want the community to work on. They were divided into 3 sections, that is short-term, medium, and long-term goals. That the resolutions were divided into 3 short-term, medium, and long-term goals. Under short-term, we identified that we need to create an inclusive Muslim youth associations. Through this creation of the associations, we will see into it that information will flow easily, and then opportunities will be shared among the youth, among the Islamic, among the Muslim youth. Then we said youth need to volunteer. They should volunteer in the clearing of graveyard, volunteer in organizations in order to update their skills and gain more knowledge. Then the third under the short term is sport activities. Under sport activities, we identified this activity because it is a unifying factor among the youth. So the only way that we can get to the youth is through sport. If we organize sport activities, we will get to the youth easily and then pass the information, and through that we will unite each and everyone in order to go through the creation of the inclusive Muslim youth associations. There will be programs for youth empowerment. We say there should be an organization of Islamic Youth Conference, and it can be annually or 2 times a year. Then we also identify that we should encourage our young ones in the education sector. That is, we should buy books or pens and give to well-performing students in order to encourage other ones to go faster and learn in order to compete to have those prizes. Then we said we need to partner with other NGOs who are already running in order to update and then learn more, because we need to get exposure to the world. If we do not partner with them, we will not have that exposure to the other society. We mentioned organizations such as the councils, civil society, amongst others. Then we have the long terms for youth. Youth empowerment programs should be established within the Muslim communities, both socially and economically. There should be the creation of Islamic youth centers. Through the creation of Islamic youth centers, we will have more trainings for the Muslims. This is because youth centers are more equipped, they have the equipment that they can train others to go out to the world and perform perfectly. Thirdly, there should be the creation of Islamic vocational trainings, which will train the Muslim youth on vocational educations and produce professionals who are experts in their fields. This is the end of the presentation.
Thank you very much, brother, for that, Muhammad, for that presentation. Please, I would like to say that we have come to the end of this feedback gotten from the various workshops. We are going to the next
item on the program, which is a reading of declarations of this conference, All Muslim Development Conference, Bamenda 2023, with the theme, What Model for Participatory and Inclusive Community Development, which is going to be done by Barrister Yunusa Karimo. Barrister, we are waiting on you, please.
So hold this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This declaration is the Bamenda Declaration. Inshallah, we are going to have more declarations like Yaoundé, Douala, and other declarations. Declaration of the All Muslim Development Conference, Bamenda 2023. On the 27th day and 28th day of May 2023, the Council of Islamic Scholars, under the patronage of the Sarki of the Muslim Community of Bamenda, His Royal Highness Hamza Usmanu Balarabe, invited all the Muslims to a conference under the theme, What Model for Participatory and Inclusive Community Development, and considered the following. Considering the Quranic verse that identify Muslims as the best ummah, Surah 3 verse 110, considering the Quranic verse that admonishes Muslims to be united, verse 3, Surah 3 verse 103, considering the numerous problems the Muslim ummah is facing in Cameroon, considering the need to provide solutions to these problems, considering the challenges involved in overcoming these problems, considering the disorganized manner in which various organizations have made their effort to redress the problems, considering the conspicuous absence of Muslims in all important sectors of the country, considering the volunteerism of the Muslim Ummah to effect a paradigm shift in order to give the Muslim Ummah a new vision, considering the deliberations of the All Muslim Development Conference, Bamenda 2023, we hereby declare as follows. We hereby declare as follows. The All Muslim Development Conference has recognized, that is the first one, the All Muslim Development Conference has recognized the limitations, inadequacies, and the fact that it is lagging behind as a community in all sectors of life. The All Muslim Development Conference has seen the need and decided to take practical and applicable decisions that will favor the interests of all Muslims by creating a functional Islamic board that will oversee the community development in the following: A, religion; B, education and vocational training; C, health; D, women and youth empowerment; C, entrepreneurship, food security and means of existence; E, communication in Islam; and G, sources of Islamic funding. 3, the All Muslim Development Conference agreed that only a provisional leadership for the board that will serve for a year will be put in place, while a permanent board shall be put in place after the end of the mandate of provisional leadership in a national conference. The All Muslim Development Conference decided that there shall be an All Muslim Development Conference every year, inshallah. The All Muslim Development Conference agreed to create and to legalize an Islamic trust fund that shall manage the financial activities of Muslims in Cameroon. The All Muslim Development Conference adopted the Islamic trust funds as the source of funding. The Islamic trust fund comprises A, Zakat, B, Waqaf, D, Inqaf, and we have in bracket for the Iqaf, Sadaqah, crowdfunding, free will donation, etc., etc. 7, the All Muslim Development Conference agreed on the creation of an ideal curriculum, recruitment of trained and competent teachers in Islamic schools. The All Muslim Development Conference agreed that all imams will prepare an ideal sermon on Friday prayers, which is proof of the sense of unity in Islam. The All Muslim Development Conference agreed on the creation of an Islamic health service in the Northwest region, which will serve as a springboard to other Islamic health services in different parts of Cameroon. Done in Bamenda on the 28th day of May 2023. That is the declaration. Thank you so much. We have one more thing to present to you for your adoption. Please, when we present this, you need to adopt it so that it can work. While on the table of the Sarki, they decided we propose a supervisory committee or a watchdog committee that will oversee the implementation of all what we have done here. And if we don't have that, we'll go here and be asking questions who will be in charge of this. So I'll present the names, and if they are okay, please, we adopt them. The first name on the list is His Royal Highness Sarki Hamza Usmanu Balarabi. And the second name is His Royal Highness Sarki Husseini Chibo. The third name is Sheikh Habu Umar Ali. The fourth name is Barrister Yunusa Karemu. The fifth name is Alajia Yabekwa. The sixth name is Sheikh Tar Husseini Welcome. The seventh name is Dr. Gambo. The eighth name is Hajja Mariama Epos Dobla. The ninth name is Dr. Tonji Abubakar. And the last but not the least, Sheikh Yusuf Kodi Bira. If you think this is okay, we adopt it. If you think we is okay, we give a big takbir to this. It has been adopted. Thank you so much.
Mashallah, Barrister, thank you very much for those declarations. We have done the declaration and we are accepting that we have created a supervisory committee, which is actually the watchdog for this operation.
Il y a beaucoup qui sont de Yaoundé, de Douala, de Bafoussam, de Kumbo, de Kambé, de Bolova et d'autres. Personne n'est exclu, tout le monde est le bienvenu. Donc nous avons commencé à Bamenda, ça va continuer ailleurs, Inch'Allah. Merci.
We are going to, if there are any amendments or corrections on that, we are going to do. There is work that can be done, so much work that can be done. Okay, these are just declarations, and I think that those who worked on their various specific areas can also visit these declarations later so that we can see if there are some adjustments to be made, inshallah. Yes, this is work we have just begun. We have not, this is not the end of it. We are just starting. And I think there will be issues like that. And when these kind of issues come in, we need the experts to come and
Muslim conference, how pertinent resolving some of the basic challenges are confronting the Muslim community?
First and foremost, we are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gathered out here today. And the prime reason for this conference is placed based on the responsibility that Allah has bestowed on us, the leaders, to guide the Muslim community on what will benefit them in this world and hereafter. So we organized this conference called All Muslim Development Conference to bring all the Muslims together to sit and discuss on what is our problems and how are we going to come out with solutions. So some of the problem is that the Muslim community are not organized. So we are trying to see that the Muslim community should be organized so that if we are doing something, we should be doing it according to the Islamic rules. Because as a Muslim, you cannot do anything above what the Islamic Sharia have assigned you to do. So we call all these the Muslims in Bamenda to sit and discuss on some important issues. You know,
if we take education, for instance, what have you decided to foster the Muslim educational system?
What we have decided to foster the Muslim educational system, first and foremost, is to sensitize the Muslims to engage in education. Because as a human, you cannot live in this world without education. And our Muslim brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, they are neglecting education. So we have called them together to educate them on the importance of education. Because without education, you cannot do anything in this world.
Okay, thank you so much.
Please, you can give your observation. Let's hear, please. Even though it's not the moment, like I said, but we can listen, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My observation is simple. We had presenters of topics, and I looked at them as resource persons. That's one of the reasons why they were selected to be the presenters today or yesterday. Me, I look at it a little bit funny. If I could be selected, it's just an example. If I could be selected as a presenter, I go do work, and then now we come to the formation of the committee that would later on look at what has been done so far, and then
thank you so much again for talking to the media. Just articulate on the specific problems in education that the Muslims are confronted with, and what decisions have been taken after the end of this meeting in Bamenda.
All glory be to Allah, the fashioner and designer of the universe. We are grateful to meet this kind of day in which Muslims decided to assemble in Bamenda to diagnose the issue and analyze it under SWOT. It means the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats that face the Muslim community in various fields, in fields of education, fields of Islamic organization, fields of youth, and other issues. So we have concretely analyzed what concerns the Muslim community here in Bamenda and elsewhere. And we've come with concrete solutions in the field of education, for example.
We have all the challenges before it comes to the solutions.
Okay, we have some of our challenges or some of our weaknesses. In the field of education, we have poor scholarly attendance, and then we have also poor schools that offer services needed by the Muslim community, and then also we have a low access to even go to these educational facilities. So in that regard, we resolved that people will be encouraged to go to school, because you cannot achieve your individual or community goal
in this our modern era without education. So the issue of education being taken lightly in the Islamic community is well addressed, and then we are charged as a community to work and see how to remedy the situation.
And then in health, that's where we conclude. We know that access to health, particularly by women, is kind of restrained as far as your perception is concerned. What are you going to do to improve on the health situation so that at least, for instance, like women can have access to specific medical facilities provided by the Muslims?
After thorough diagnosis of our health problem, it has come to our knowledge that we are totally backward in our health facilities. We don't have the health facilities. We are having low health personnel with low attendance in health school and the rest. So we, the Muslims, we have resolved to send our children to health school who will learn medicine so that they will help the community. We have also resolved to come up with health institutions, and that will help us start something. So the ideal is that we don't sit to wait for others to provide glory or happiness for us. What we fail to do to ourselves, we can't expect it from others. So we are working hard to see we send our children to school to learn health education, and also to try and come up with health institutions.
So, just introduce yourself, please.
I am the president of CIS, Council of Islamic Studies.
We have already pushed it back, and we want the decision of the Ummah. The Ummah should choose who is supposed to lead that, how do you call it? Watchdog. What? Watchdog. That supervising committee. We are listening to you. We do not want to gather people here and to miss our objective. We should succeed our objective. Whoever you think is able to lead that committee, he will lead the committee. We are listening to you. Whoever want to talk, give us your proposition. You are the one who talk. Give us your proposition.
Merci madame d'avoir accepté de répondre à nos questions. Alors, dites-nous, quels sont les problèmes auxquels font les femmes musulmanes?
Les femmes musulmanes dans son entièreté font face à beaucoup, pour ne pas dire trop de problèmes. Et s'il faut les lister, je pense que principalement il y a un problème d'éducation. Vous allez me dire sous-scolarisation, mais tout cela rentre dans ce que nous appelons éducation dans le sens générique du terme. Elles ne sont pas scolarisées, elles ne sont pas guidées dans le domaine de la santé, dans le domaine de l'entrepreneuriat, dans tous ces domaines-là. Donc je résume cela en un mot, l'éducation. Et qui n'est pas éduqué, ma foi, ne peut prétendre à pratiquement rien dans sa vie.
Alors, au terme de cette conférence, quelles sont vos résolutions pour résoudre le problème?
Au terme de cette conférence, la principale résolution qui concerne les femmes, c'est qu'elles doivent s'organiser en groupement et procéder à ce que je vais appeler la sensibilisation. Elles vont s'auto-sensibiliser sur l'éducation. Elles vont s'arranger à sensibiliser les hommes sur l'éducation, c'est-à-dire comment leur permettre d'accéder à l'éducation et comment permettre à leurs enfants d'être éduqués. Donc tout cela passe par ce que nous allons appeler immédiatement le principe de sensibilisation qui va peut-être ouvrir les portes et voilà, la communication.
Cette conférence vous a permis de parler devant les hommes. Ça vient briser ce manque d'épanouissement pour la femme musulmane.
Je ne sais pas s'il faut prendre ça dans le sens de briser le manque de rapport ou de prise de parole devant les hommes. On peut prendre la parole par écrit, on n'a pas besoin de se placer devant quelqu'un, on peut prendre la parole d'une manière ou d'une autre. Mais ici, je pense qu'en m'invitant, c'était justement pour pouvoir, pas briser, mais mettre quelqu'un au devant de la scène pour
entendre la voix de la femme.
Pour servir d'exemple pour elles, déjà pour qu'elles sachent qu'elles peuvent prendre la parole sans crainte et s'exprimer librement et se faire entendre. Mais aussi peut-être pouvoir porter haut la voix de la femme dans des forats comme ça. Vous êtes rendu compte depuis hier qu'il n'y a qu'une seule femme à qui on a donné un thème sur une pléthore de thèmes. Et voilà, ils nous ont permis de nous faire entendre et nous ne sommes pas allés du dos de la cuillère. On a réfléchi, on a...
The declarations and recommendations that we have had in this conference is, in fact, that we have implemented them effectively as we are supposed to implement. It's not a matter of, please, I want to beg the audience, Brother Schweib, please. Please, Brother Schweib, I am the moderator of this conference. Please, can you sit down? I am trying to
s'exprimer. Elles s'en sont capables, mais quelquefois le panel ne leur est pas offert. Merci.
We are still talking about this particular committee that is going to, for the moment, supervise the activities, the declarations that we have pronounced in this particular conference, to see to it that they work. If we have talked about short-term goals, who is going to follow them? Who is going to follow the short-term goals to make sure that they have achieved? If we live here today without this committee, we are going back to zero, because everything will remain in papers and we never go into practicals. So it is just very clear, there is nothing, no issue of talking about representation or whatsoever. These people that have been read here, they are given responsibilities. They are given responsibility of supervising the declarations that we have and the recommendations that we have here. And what we expect is that they should follow the recommendations, follow the declarations, and make sure that everything is implemented, so that we should not go back to the level which we were before we even started this particular conference. Please, everybody cannot be in a supervisory committee. Not everybody can be there. We will only take the people we can take, not for any other reason, but for the fact that we need somebody to be responsible. We need to hold somebody responsible for a particular thing. So I think that this point is clarified, and the committee stays as it was read. If we want to add, Sheikh Tar Hussein has declined. I think you can propose some other person that you had. We will add. There is no problem adding somebody to that committee. I think it is not full. There's no problem, we can add. But for now, we maintain what is there. So on that note, this supervisory committee that has just been read to us here, we are agreeing. Please just forgive me, please. I may be talking with some emotions, but when the matter is very serious, sometimes I talk like that. Because we cannot come here for 2 days and do a great job. Wallahi, I'm calling it a great job. And the reason why I call it a great job is because of what I've seen, what brothers can do, what they are doing. This is us here, we are sitting here. Everybody is still very much alert. And we want to work. We want to work. So we need at least some people to supervise our activities. That is all. It can be you, it can be me. It must not be me, it must not be you before it works. This is us. We are the representatives of our own selves and of the Ummah. We cannot all be found in one committee. If we have to go by consideration, everybody here will be found in that committee. Because you have a reason for being in that committee. But we cannot go like that. There must be some people who will take the responsibility, and we charge them for that responsibility. We know that they are responsible for that, and if there is something that is going on that is wrong, we get to them and they tell us what is going on. That is why it is very important that we know this from now. Thank you very much. I think at this point in time, we are coming to the end of this conference. We have had all that is needed for this conference that we planned, and I want to state this conference has been given the grant that it deserves. This conference has gone a long way to as a people. I just beg on the supervisory committee and the members that will sooner or later be charged with responsibilities to be devoted Muslims. When you are a devoted Muslim, you will work without even thinking about your own self. On that note, we are almost coming to the end. Yes, Sheikh Yusuf. Okay, yeah, Sheikh. Sheikh Abu Umar has an observation that he wants to make, and I will give him the podium to make his observation. And we close, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sallama tasliman kathira wa ba'd. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for saying we don't come for the end for this occasion successfully, and all man don't participate, we don't deliberate, we don't talk, we don't hear. We don't come again for something where people need for understand. You know, when you know understand, you disagree for here. When we go outside, the disagreement it will be wide. Watchdog na who? Watchdog na them go become I for anything where Ummah di duam. If they assign me Abu Umar, say go build masjid. For say me I no play with that assignment. For say me I do on the way they want them. Watchdog go to put the eye. They go to report under for ye. Watchdog na you go hold we for 1 year. Now them go to she don't call meeting. Say it fine. Say these people for health, they don't bring this matter. No, she don't see and see how we go prioritize the thing then before Giam. Watchdog na ye go see say people for youth, they don't bring something we start from there. Watchdog na people where we trust them. People where they get daraja for eye. May we respect them as now Allah don't put them. Let us start from here. If maybe so, like we go put na some kind disagreement we no go nowhere. Ya Jama'a, the watchdog where they put them, na just for we for acceptance. Innama kana qawla al-mu'minina idha du'u ila Allah wa rasulihi liyahkuma bainahum an yaqulu sami'na wa ata'na. Talk for man we believe with Allah. If you call you for to a concern matter for Allah and the messenger, he only talk and say I don't hear and I don't obey. There is nothing like rebellion inside Islam. Whenever pack for all these days for come put this thing, then we begin argue say who go be or not. And again, I want to give you good news. Say other sectors they need for be regulated by a bigger board, and that sector we get health, we get education, we get finance, we get other areas then where they go put people when are executive people them. May una understand watchdog. If you say all man go enter watchdog, who go enter the other one? The expert, the winner, the technical core of the body who want constitute them they will go for Usai. Ya Jama'a, me una understand. When I don't trust, see this table. Ya Jama'a, this table where they put them, wallahi they purposely put them. Say they go select who go sit down for this table. and why they be in charge for prepare the declaration. Na Serki the day on top, ne Martaba the day on top, we barrister day on top. If we start by discrediting them, then you go put who under this one, they may accept them. If for instance, we don't say, okay, we wipe all that watchdog, then put a corner. No one suggest people they go agree on them. No move them, make them come out. Watchdog temporary, you are out. Next one. You know, Waka. So I want to say this one are part of the spices. Part of the spices where the spice occasion. And then we'll go hear more. When we don't come for upside, we'll go hear more. They don't plan that meeting, they will put some people on top, some people. Yes, now the main reason that for that meeting. If you know one for go secretary and know say we all meeting about it, we don't come plan for put some man on top some man. Now we need that palaba no day. Because the law has said whether you do her, some man go there on top some man. You where you want to be on top people, you too want to be for on top. Yeah, Jama, we try hard, and a lot of things then they come. Be easy in light, Allah. Any problem for that matter again? No. Eh? No. I beg if someone get problem, may bring them. La Bismillah. Naam. They'll go pray.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. It is like say my proposal be misunderstood.
No.
Because from the first reaction we will get them from Sheikh Tahir Hussein, it misunderstand them, and it is say everybody just misunderstand and follow the direction. Another talk now say may they move the committee where they put them.
No.
Because the initiators for the committee, not them, be part of that board. And for no comment on myself, I be one of the persons the way they strongly believe someone will put that watchdog committee. I think say Sarki Hamza, he go testify say I be one of the people the way I support somebody put that committee. Thing where me I be recommend. Now say for part for health, since I know something for Palava health, I be proposing me them add to Kamilu for the committee. Now I propose me them add. I never thought I say me them move committee put over down. They put Dr. Kamilu as leader of the committee. No, between that be proposed.
No.
I thought I say me them put him as member of the committee because I know the position we get for inside Palava, and I know place where if you go Palava health. Now why I be the job proposing me them add him inside committee, but unfortunately we turn and I say I don't talk say me them move committee put over down put different people. No, I cannot do that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, President, for this clarification. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Ya Jama'ah, would pray in shift. Would pray in shift and would pray just chop. Proposal for add some people, I think the panel we don't hear. May they add people where they see say they feel add them if it be possible. Or how it be, inshallah. But I beg the panel and look be the outside town where they read and how many people?
10 people. Forget about the number.
Okay.
Whoever want to work, I want to say something.
Yeah, Jama'ah, may just stay hard. They don't say they don't put 8 people and 10 people. We get proposal for Dr. Kamil, we one. Naam. Yes, talk with here.
And you want to say, who maintain the people that don't bring them? Because if we want the act person because of SABS, but they will end up adding people then. Like Dr. Kalu talk about finance. No manually for the whole way they explain. But that means they give for adding too. Yes. Yes. It will end up being the same they add now because of being an expert, and they will add all expert for the whole.
Then when they add all expert for watchdog, the martaba when all expert they for watchdog, then who go work? Because all men supposed to work don't be a supervisor. When I not say super, see, ya Jama'ah, me will talk grammar small. For supervise means say put eye. For watch means say siam. Maybe people where they work, that watchdog maybe work as them. Now for put eye. We don't understand. Assalamu alaikum. Bemardaba bismillah. If anything there, we will go pray.
Well, moi je vais parler en français et je vais vous dire, s'il vous plaît, je voulais demander à tout le monde d'être patient. Quand on fait un bon travail, il y a Shaitan qui est avec nous. Et maintenant là c'est le temps de Shaitan parce que chacun est fatigué la faim. On n'a pas prié. On n'a pas prié jour. Tout ce que nous sommes en train de faire là, Allah n'aime pas ça. Et maintenant, Shayatines sont en train de tourner entre nous. Faites attention. Il ne faut pas qu'on se réunisse comme ça, on se sépare et on se sépare mal. Moi, je pense, s'il vous plaît, I'm thinking that we have done the good job. I call CRTV to come and see because when I watch the ARTV, I say we cannot do such a meeting without CRTV. I call CRTV. Journalists from CRTV came and they take pictures, they take everything, and they ask for a table round. They ask Sheikh Abuma to see all experts who can come and explain more to Cameroonians, to Muslims in Cameroon. Whoever want to work, it is open. We work. Did I enter in an expert commission? No. Am I something here? I'm nothing. But I work. Whenever you ask me, I'm there. Even if you don't want to see me, you will see me. Allah want to see me. If you don't want to see me, Allah want to see me. If you are working for Allah, we should not have that type of thinking. It is a bad thinking. We should stop thinking like this. If you want to work, be ready, you will work. Work is there for Muslim community. We have done nothing. We are nothing. We will start now. But if you kill that meeting, we will go to the tribunal of Allah. Whoever killed that meeting, we will see to the tribunal of Allah. We will be judged. Allah will judge us. I thank you so much for your availability. I thank you so much for your patience, and I ask you more patience. Be patient. Allah aim those who are patient. Allah aim those who are again. Allah like those who are be patient. May Allah reward you. May Allah gather us in Al-Jannatul Firdaus. I so much. We see next time. I'm going to take care of my guests. I will send them. If they are waiting for the vehicle, I will say you goodbye.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. So we are going for prayers, inshallah.
يا رب ثبتنا على الإيمان واجعلنا هداة التائه الحيران وأعزنا بالحق وانصرنا به نصرا عزيزا أنت ذو السلطان. وعلى رسولك أفضل الصلوات والتسليم منك وأكمل الرضوان وعلى صحابته جميعا والأولى تبعوهم